Hello, everyone. I'm super excited today to have these wonderful business women that have an international flair to them on this panel today because March 8th is what? What is it, ladies?
International
International
Women's
Women's
Day.
Day.
Yoo-hoo! That's right. Exactly. So we thought at Dawson and Dawson it would be really fun to get some amazing women together and find out a little bit about how they started doing what they're doing. And the idea is to inspire other women and other individuals with our path that we've taken. And it's been a really interesting path. That's why I'm really excited to talk to everybody. So I thought what we would do is just start out by introducing everyone. So we know I'm Kathy Dawson, and I help run a search and staffing firm called Dawson and Dawson nationwide and worldwide as well. And gosh, my heritage is Irish and German mostly, and I really identify with the Irish part of it. So St. Patrick's Day is always a fun time in my house. So very strong woman came from Ireland to Ohio, believe it or not, through via New York to lead me to where I am today. Very interesting. So how about if we just let Viki go next? Viki Johnston?
Yes, well, I have some of those connections too, Kathy, because I'm from England, so close to
Ah.
Ireland. And my dad's actually from Scotland, so I have to call myself British rather than English because I'm half Scottish as well. So that's where I'm from originally, but I left there about 14 years ago and moved to Germany for a few
Wow.
years. So there's another connection. Lived in Germany for 4.5 years. Then we moved from Germany to Ohio. There you go. We lived in Cincinnati for 2 years, and then we moved here to Irvine about nearly 7 years ago. So kind of traveled around a little bit, and I'm very happy to be living in Southern California right now.
And you do what we call the light bulb moment and some training. Very
I
fascinating.
Yes, yes. So I love working with organizations who have teams of managers who are struggling with that idea of becoming a leader. And yeah, I call
Mm,
myself the light bulb lady because I love going in and helping people have that moment of clarity when they suddenly realize that, oh, this is how I should be leading my team. This is how I should be communicating with my team. This is how I grow a high functioning, high
yes.
performing team. And I love to play games and do lots of activities. It's very hands on, very experiential style of training. And I do
Excellent.
improv too.
Ooh.
You just are a basket full of information today.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Well, let's take Neosha. Neosha, tell us a bit about your business and where you're coming from.
Sure. Hi. Yeah, my name is Niosha Shakoori, and I am an employment attorney and workplace investigator. My parents came from Iran over about 55 years ago. So
Wow.
while
So
I
exciting.
was born and raised here, I have Persian blood pumping through my veins.
Outstanding. Yes, and that workplace investigation is really interesting, especially coming from a corporate background, which is what you're from. So I think it's fascinating whenever I get to talk to Neosha because she's going to tell me all these things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, really? That's still happening today with those
Still
investigations.
happening.
Woo. All right. How about if we go to Valerie? Valerie, please introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Valerie Dufix. I'm a commercial loan broker, meaning that I help businesses with their working capital, commercial real estate, and mergers and acquisition transactions. And my background, I was born and raised in France, in Lyon. I know most Americans usually stop in Paris, but Lyon, go a little south and you'll be in Lyon, southeast of France. It's Provence, which I'm sure, a
Oh,
lot of people love. And I'm half and half. On my mom's side, I come from Cameroon, Central Africa. And on my dad's side, he's been in France like forever. So
wow.
I came to America in 2007
Mhm.
on a working visa. I was supposed not to be here for a long time. 3 years working visa. And guess what? I'm still here. And just like I'm loving the California life.
Outstanding. Well, we're
Yeah.
glad to have you, Valerie. It's a wonderful time when you know Valerie, that's for sure. How about Hema next? Let's go with Hema, since we're talking about Peri.
Yeah. I'm not in Paris, although my company name is Eiffel International. I I I branded my business Eiffel International based on an assignment I was posted in Paris for a New Zealand company. So we can
Mm.
Where would you like me to start, Kathy? Where am I from?
Well, we don't have that much time. However,
Yes.
it is very interesting.
Yes, indeed. I live in California now, but I was born and raised in Malaysia and migrated to New Zealand and did my marketing degree there. Eiffel International is an outsourced marketing solution with fractional CMOs, and we have an entire team that acts as an outsourced marketing department. Actually, I'm going to call it on-demand marketing
There you go.
department. Yeah.
Excellent.
You know, my mom is Chinese, my dad is Indian, and they call me a Chindian. And I've worked in 35 different countries with expat roles in Paris, London, and Shanghai. And my biggest forte is my love for people. And I connect people with people, and I connect people with problems, with solutions. And we bring that to the table with my proprietary platform called SEO to Sales.
Excellent. Excellent. That's how you do your magic.
Having
Well,
me.
speaking of magic makers, we have one more lady to introduce herself, and that's Mahyar. Mahyar's a magic maker in the construction field, that's for sure, as an attorney. And also, how many careers have you had, Mahyar? Come on.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Mahyar Ghassemian, Ghassemian Law Group. I'm the founding attorney of Ghassemian Law Group. We do business, construction, and real estate litigation, and some preventative work as well, not to allow our clients to get into trouble before they do. So I was born and raised in Iran. I spent the first couple of decades of my life in Iran. Learned English there, learned French and Turkish and a lot of other stuff there. And I came here as a student. I was studying physics. I got a master's in physics. I taught at the university for a while. And then after that, I got into corporate and finally was led to law school. Law school was very interesting. I had a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old when I started.
Oh my gosh.
But when I commit to something, I commit to something. So international, basically from Iran, and as Niosha said, Persian blood in my veins, as well as having spent time over there. But I've spent the majority of my life here in Southern California and met all of you wonderful ladies here as part of ProVisors.
Yes, it's such a wonderful environment to meet great people like this, isn't it?
Yes, indeed.
That's wonderful. Well, we're so glad you were all able to come today, because obviously it's really important to us to make sure that other women, younger women, and even older women than us understand that there is an amazing opportunity for all of us out there, as long as we're connected to people like you see on this panel. You know, I have to tell you, every single person that I'm looking at right now would give me their right hand in a moment's notice if I asked them to. It's very hard and very rare to be able to say that about anybody, let alone 6 people, right, in one panel. My goodness. But that's why it's really important for us to give back and tell a little bit about why we think this world is an amazing place for a woman right now, internationally as well as nationally. So one of the first questions I wanted to ask was to talk a little bit about how you came up in your businesses. So we have a couple of attorneys, one's in construction, one's in labor and employment, and then we have a financier, which is of course Valerie, and then we have a trainer and a teacher, then we have an SEO, say a CMO marketing person, and then a recruiter. My goodness. Could you get any more different? So why don't we just go in the same order we introduced ourselves, if you don't mind, and then talk about that question, Viki. You know, exactly how did you come up, and how did you deal with any of the challenges that might have come your way as a woman in your field?
Yeah, so I guess, well, the reason I got into doing this is I was in my corporate job. I moved quite quickly from being in a customer service environment, very female kind of environment, into the management structure. And I loved managing people. I love the whole aspect of connecting with people, recruiting, and just bringing people up. I love that idea. And then I kind of did a sideways shift into our training function, and that's where I found that was my light bulb moment. Was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I mean, it was a very female kind of, I was in a customer service department, then I went to a training department. HR in corporate tends to be like that. And it was great. I got lots of development. I loved what what I did. When I shifted slightly was when I left my corporate job and became an independent. And one of the areas that I moved into was aviation security, because I was working for a
Oh.
courier company when I left, and I was already trained, and I was in that kind of network and that environment. And I became an auditor on behalf of the government, the UK government. And there were, I think, when I say there was about 125 of us auditors up and down the country going into organizations doing assessments and checking on aviation security processes. And out of those 125, there were probably 7 women.
Wow.
Very, very male dominated environment.
Mm.
And I was also one of the youngest. So in fact, I had my second child while I was an auditor. So I actually was going into companies pregnant, going and meeting all of these men, very, very heavily pregnant.
Oh gosh.
And it was interesting because I never really saw that it was an issue for me. I actually saw that it was a benefit, because I was going into some of these companies who'd experienced these older men coming in and auditing them. And I was coming in with a like, hey, I'm here to find out what you're doing, and I want to understand your business. And I had a very different approach, and I actually think it worked in my favor. So it was kind of interesting.
Lovely.
Yeah, going into a very different environment, but I just like, this is who I am. And I didn't try and pretend to be one of the serious male auditors. I was like, yeah, I just having fun with it.
I was just going to say, that's your approach in life today. I can see that. Can't you ladies see that in her? How no matter if there was 3,000 men and there was only 1 woman, she would have been the same, I think. And I think that's the key, right, to give to these younger coming up people is don't change who you are for other people. Just charm them with who you are and let them know why they want to work with you and why they want you to help them. And charm goes a long way as long as it's for real, you know. So, and you have a lot of that, Viki.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, great. Let's move on then to the next person. Niosha, I think.
Sure. Yeah. So, you know, kind of consistent with what Viki was talking about, one of kind of the key aha moments for me was when I was in-house. And, you know, we often see certain types of leaders be celebrated, like those who are like commanding or assertive, or, you know, just the typical kind of what you think of. And so there were pressures that I was feeling to kind of, you know, emulate those traits instead of being authentic. And it even though those things didn't resonate to me, I felt like I had to like fit myself in that square box. And, you know, I think eventually, I wish it happened sooner, the aha moment, but eventually I realized, you know, leadership is not a one size fits all. You know, there's many different ways in which one can lead. And the most effective leaders are those who tend to be thoughtful, empathetic, and authentic. And so I started to just become more of who I am. And that's when I felt better. And I actually was more effective in being a leader when I was kind of being more true to myself. In terms of some of the challenges that you mentioned, and I'm sure Mahyar can like kind of echo this, but starting off, you know, as a litigator, you always got the other male counterparts, older sometimes, that would try to intimidate you just because they knew you were a young female. And so that's, you know, challenging and jarring at times, but you just have to like, I got to a point where I would just laugh and be like, oh, okay, I triggered them, I guess. And I like kind of move on and not let it not sweat that stuff. But that was definitely another like jarring experience for me starting off.
I think what you're saying too, Niosha, is that you basically found your authentic self. You always had it, right? But you didn't know if you could bring it forward in corporate America. And so you found when you first got there, probably not so much. But you found once you became more confident and you realized how to kind of navigate through that system, you still gave the people who are the seniors the credit they deserved, but you were able to help the others see what you needed and why it was the right thing to do. And your whole engagement with others is so amazing because you care so much. And if you're you, then they'll respond to you. If you're what they want you to be, and you know, you're very different than what we've been raised to be, it isn't your authentic self. And we have struggles with that. That's why there's so much turnover and things like that. So good for you for getting in there and, you know, making it happen and navigating through all that. Oh my gosh. Talk about challenging, right? All right, Valerie. I know you had
Oh,
to have
yeah. I know, right? Amazing. I just love this conversation because talking about male-dominated industry. I'm a commercial loan brokers. How many female commercial loan brokers, you know? To this day, been 7.5 years, I only know another one. That's it. So I wholeheartedly right away embrace the authenticity. I can be like, I mean, I have an accent. I'm from France. A lot of people, I look very different from a lot of people. So absolutely, I had to be myself. So authenticity, absolutely the key. And just as Viki was mentioning, Niosha, it actually became an advantage for me. It was my competitive advantage because people, hey, who is that lady, young girl with an accent? You know, it was memorable. Like, you know, I don't, again, with
Yes.
the accent and then the background. So it was definitely a competitive advantage. And also one thing I want to mention, it's reaching out to these peers, because these old boys club, right? Like, you know, when they feel that you're serious about what you're doing and credible, right? They want to help.
Yes.
So one thing that you know, obviously authenticity is key, and also reach out to get their knowledge. They have a lot to offer, and they love mentoring.
Right,
I got
right,
2 mentors out of my peers. It was just amazing.
right.
So that reaching out to these people that know better than you. Like, you know, I just got into the industry. I didn't know much, although I had like 9 years prior at Wells Fargo Bank. It was
Right.
very, very much helpful tremendously to, you know, to have them as my mentors. And another third aspect, it's really learning. Get to be the expert in your field. That credibility
The
that you get,
best.
you know, from, you know, signing up for trainings, webinars, or, you know, classes, whatnot. Really
Yeah.
be on the pulse in your industry, knowledgeable about what you're talking about. And then, you know, that was really helpful for me.
Yeah, that's a good point she brings up, right, ladies? Oh my gosh, if we
Yeah.
didn't actually grab that knowledge from where we had been to get it, and so that we could then, you know, regurgitate it the way we think it should be, is really what I did, and make sure that I'm doing what I need to do to make me whole, not just the company whole or my industry whole. I think that's wonderful, and recognizing that unbelievable talent that they bring, that value of information, right? So important. So
Oh, yeah.
gosh, that must have been fun. I wish I could have watched you in your day. All right, Miss Hema, you tell us. You got the same story, I'm sure, just in a different
Yeah,
tune.
I feel like I have this flashbacks listening to all of you here. You know, when I did my degree in New Zealand, I was groomed by the high-tech manufacturing sector in Christchurch.
Wow, nice.
And I used to work night shifts, and you can just imagine on the production floor, and I learned all the facets of manufacturing facility and the processes. I wrote ISO 9001 manuals. I mean, those were the
Oh my
days.
gosh, no way.
And I know. And all my bosses were males, and it was a very male dominant industry as well. But it was these professional mentors, I should say, in my entire career, that gave me this platform to be international.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing because I would just ask, can I go to Korea today and meet the client? And my bosses would say yes. It was fascinating. I would just say, may I? And but then again, I agree with Valerie. I think you got to show tenacity and the wanting to learn and be humble and grow and be hardworking at the same time, because we've got that much more to, you know, prove ourselves, right? But I'll never forget this. I landed in Korea when I asked to go to Korea, and I was in automation. So my product was a motor control device for industrial applications.
Wow.
And I was emailing the distributor there, and his name was Mr. Bear.
Okay.
And I remember flying in. I was so tired. Christchurch to Singapore, Singapore to Seoul, and I landed there. And he was going to pick me up at the airport. But my name is Hema Dey, so he thought that I was a man.
Oh my.
Being American, right? And so when I came up to him, because he had a nice little sign, with I was like a VIP to him, and he just looked behind me, thinking that I was the wrong person, and he said, "Is your dad coming with you?" I was like, "No, I'm Hema."
Wow.
And then that journey was, I mean, that was the first thing that happened. After that, they realized that I knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And in broken Korean, managed to bridge the deals and closed it. But after traveling the world for a couple of decades, 26 weeks a year, I
Wow.
wanted to be a mom. And
Yeah.
that was not going to be possible doing this going around the world business. And I had so much fun doing it. So that's when I started my company, because when I decided that moment, I just want to share this really quickly. I was in the elevator sector. Again, very male dominant, very archaic,
Wow.
right?
Mhm.
Very hierarchical.
Mhm.
But I made it up to GM and divisional head, European manager, and as soon as I said I wanted to be a mom, I wasn't invited to board meetings. It's like
Disappointing at
my
best.
value just vanished.
Yeah,
And I
that's a
said,
shame.
"Fuck this. I'm going to start my own company. I'm going to grow everybody I can, not just one company." And
That's right, Emma.
so that's when I started my company in 2006. It's really honestly because of that.
Wow, that's a great story, Hema. Thank
And
you so much.
And Kathy,
Really
my
appreciate
mission in
that.
life is to bring back moms and dads who have gone through this process in their corporate
Right,
life
right.
into working again. So we have that
Yes,
ecosystem at Eiffel International. Yeah.
outstanding. Yeah, that's really great. Yeah, it doesn't matter. We don't care who you are. We just care what you can do. And
Right.
if you're a nice person and you're honest and ethical, right? That's the thing.
Now they don't ask me
Anyway,
my dad. They say, "Is your brother here?"
instead of a dad. I love it. I love it. All right. Well, I know Mayar has some stories too
Yes, she
because of
does.
her background, where she came from, and raising those kids, being married, having two different careers, having how many degrees, how many languages. I mean, when do you stop, Mayar? When do you sleep?
That's where it comes from. Not a whole lot of sleep.
There you
Yes.
So
go.
I have you guys can probably see me coughing. I have I'm on mute. I'm trying to not cough while I'm talking. Had this nasty cough for a couple of weeks. I come from my family, I was raised with two brothers. My dad was extremely progressive in his ideas, which I thought that's how everybody is. I had no idea how progressive he was until years later, when I saw other women being treated differently here, even in the US. I was raised in Iran. My mom was extremely strong. She was a teacher and a school principal, ran a school of 120 kids and 35 teachers. And it was a good atmosphere to be raised in. I studied physics. Usually I was either the only girl in the class or one of two, maybe. And then
Wow.
definitely here at the physics program, graduate program, I was the only one. And then going into law school, afterwards, working in the first firm that I was working with, where they hired me because of my physics background, because I was a lawyer and that had that scientific background, because they had these really large national construction companies as their clients. They were all defect cases. You had to put a team of experts together, engineers and scientists, and lead them and be able to translate their blah, 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 blah to people speak, And so they liked my background. I liked it. I stuck with it, and then I brought in business litigation because all construction companies are businesses, etc. The rest is history. But I would normally be the only woman anywhere I went.
Wow.
I would get I mean, I had this one older construction client who looked at me and just kind of looked me up and down, and I was wearing a skirt and I was wearing high heels, and he's like, "You're my construction attorney?" And I said, "Yep,
Yeah.
you bet." And sometimes it was an issue for them. My attitude has always been this, and I give this as my advice to the younger generation of women. If they have a problem with me being a woman, that's their problem, not mine. I'm not going to
love
make it
that.
mine.
Love
And
that.
I became so oblivious to the gender issue after a while. I mean, you have to fight. You fight
Yeah.
and fight and fight. But I would enter a room and literally I wasn't thinking that I was the only woman. One time at our networking provisors event, one event I got in there and there was one other woman and she goes, "Oh my God, I'm so glad you came." I said, "Why?" She goes, "Because I was the only woman." And I looked around and I go, "Oh, I guess you're right. I hadn't even noticed, because that's the world we operate in. It
Yeah.
becomes gender neutral for us, although you don't get treated that way." So I had situations, multiple situations where they would treat you differently. Like Hema was saying, I was being asked if I was the secretary, I was being asked, "Oh, where's the partner? Where's the main person?" I was told by a big partner, named partner of a big law firm in a mediation, "Well, you're a nice lady and all, but we need the authority and the decision makers here." Well, guess what? Within 20 minutes, his experts, and the mediators apologized to me.
Oh,
I
that's
don't
good.
take that kind of stuff, easily.
Yeah.
Do not
Yeah.
discount me because of my gender or what you perceive to be a problem. And I think what my colleagues said here, you do end up being a lot more because you push yourself harder and you become excellent at what you do. And they respect you. So I've had people that literally hated me just because I was a woman who dared stand
Unbelievable.
up to them. And
Unbelievable.
again, my thing is that's your problem, not
Exactly.
mine. And I don't care if you don't like me, just respect me for who I
Yeah.
am and what I'm trying to do. So
Yeah.
those are some of the challenges everybody
Amazing.
is going to feel
Yeah.
them. Unfortunately, it's a lot more prevalent in the 21st century, in the third decade of the 21st century that we're living in than we
Yeah.
hoped it would be.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. And back to what Maya is saying, basically be the smartest person in the room and earn that seat, and they won't be able to turn it down. And the nice thing is, I've done this before, Maya, where they haven't wanted to work with me before because I'm a woman. And then I go back and then they realize, "Oh my gosh, I made a big mistake. I should have been working with her. We've had all this turnover, we've had all these issues, and yet the woman would have been the right person." And it's age, or not age, it's gender neutral, because to me, it can be a man or a woman. You just have to get somebody who's good. And since I'm a woman, I want to be better than everybody else because I feel like I should be the best and smartest in any room that I'm there, for that exact reason that you mentioned, Mayar. So I'm just going to say a couple more of these dates that I have in my mind from just about women, not being where they need to be and how we are now. And then I'm going to have one more comment from each of you, and then it'll be the end. We can just wish this well to all of our young, amazing female entrepreneurs and people that are listening to this. And please feel free to reach out to any of these women on this call. They are supercharged. I mean, talk about amazing in their own right. They will help you at anything you need, and I'll be right in there with them too. So 150 years ago, did you know we could not vote as a woman? No voting. Can you imagine? Our single most important right now to vote, right? And so in 1920, we could vote, but we couldn't vote until we were 21. And we had to be a certain economical level to be able to vote then as well. In 1914, there's the First World War. That's why we got in male jobs, because there were no men left. That's the only reason why. Can you guys believe that? So World War One declared, and we took non-traditional jobs, which I just love. Now, I don't want to do any of those jobs, but I love it when people do them, 1928, you had to be over 21 to vote, right? As I mentioned. In 1979, first female prime minister. 1979. I thought she was always around. She was here forever, wasn't she? Wonderful, wonderful woman. In 1974, it was the first time in America you could buy a home on your own without your mom or your dad or somebody co-signing for you as a woman. Can you believe that? 1974. So I feel like we've come such a long way, as this phrase goes, you come a long way, baby, we have, but we have so much further to go. So we'll end this out. We have about 10 more minutes. So Viki, we're going to go in the same order. If you could just give some parting words about, something for our listeners and what you see as the future would be great.
Yeah. So I guess kind of looking back, if the advice I would have given myself, and I think I took it without actually consciously realizing it. The most important thing for me has been, and every time I've moved to a different country, a different place, and every time I've changed, kind of reinvented what I do, or any change, I've found my tribe of women who have been my support mechanism. And yeah, there've been some great guys I've met along the way as well. Say that too loud. My husband's in the other room, so he's my main guy, obviously. But my focus has always been, and my advice to any woman coming up from anywhere, moving from anywhere, going to do a new job, is find your tribe, find the women that have got your back, and you can then be yourself, because it doesn't matter what you say. If you make a mistake, if you screw up, you have people that have your back. And that's the most important thing. You'll never fail if you've got people that are there to lift you up and support you along the way. So that's always something I've done unconsciously, I think, because I'm an extrovert and I know I need people, so I go find them. But it's definitely helped me. And I have lifelong friends now that I've met all over the world that I'm still in contact with, and I wouldn't be without them.
That's great advice. Thank you so much, Viki. All right, Niosha. You're on mute. There you go.
I think, parting words from me would be essentially for young women thinking about their futures or careers is to believe in their potential and not limit themselves. I mean, I feel like, and there's been studies about this, how when it comes to whether women think they're up for a promotion versus the male counterparts, it's like 80%. And I'm just throwing this number out there, but it's a huge difference in terms of how when men think they're ready for that next step versus women, because it's always like, wait, no, I'm not prepared, or, I don't have enough experience. And it's like, just do it. Don't overthink things, and don't underestimate your potential and being able to kind of reach that potential.
Yeah, that's amazing. I say it's confidence, Niosha, what you're saying. If I could give everybody confidence, I think this world would be an amazing place, right? Because it's when they're not confident that they second guess themselves and others, and to have their tribe, like you guys are saying, to support them. If you're not confident, you can say, well, is this okay? I mean, it's just wonderful. So both of you guys, those are great tips for sure. All right, next.
Well, I have like kind of three major aspect that really helped me till this day. We talked about authenticity, right? Being busy, being yourself. Everybody else is taking that as they're saying, right? Like, it's really important that you define who you are and what you want to do. Community, Viki mentioned, amazing community. Yep. It's like, I wouldn't be where I am without the community and the people that really help, bringing this success,
you bet.
with me. And then mentorship, right? Community mentorship, very important to look up. I mean, reach out again. People, it's so amazing how there's so many mentors, male or female, actually, that are willing to help. They want to help. So please reach out. And last but not least, again, that credibility. Be so good as a woman. Be so good that they cannot help but work with you. You become
Yes.
so relevant, they cannot not help. They cannot not hire you, basically.
They can't help themselves. They have to work with you.
They
I
have
like,
to.
like it.
Mhm.
That's excellent, Valerie. Great words of advice. All right, Hema, you're on mute. It would be really good though. There you go.
I've always lived with the culture of telling my staff and my teams right across my international career, you know, when you have a no entry sign, I used to create stickers that says do not assume.
Oh.
Okay. And do not assume comes with ask questions, be humble, be inquisitive. I think the younger generation these days come across a bit of a, you know, entitled young things, and they seem to know a lot through social media, but it may not be the right things. And so when I groom and mentor young marketers coming out from college, my plea to them is take stock of what's going on around you, not just on social media, and ask questions and be humble about that. And then in the capacity of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, I meet a lot of women who feel sometimes like they've been excluded. They feel very excluded when there's a room full of men. My advice to them is don't play the role of a victim, play the role of a hero, and walk in there with confidence and earn your stripes. Earn the right to speak about what it is that you're really good at. And no one, and then the conversation is not about male and female or LGBTQ, but it's about leveling with your knowledge. Knowledge is powerful.
It is. I love that phrase.
Yeah. So I would say
Most
do not
definitely.
assume, ask questions, don't play the victim, and get out
Right.
there. Earn your
Yeah.
position. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I'm so inspired already. I want to go do something. I'm going to report right now.
Love it.
We're going to let Mahyar take it home for
That's
us.
right.
Mahyar,
Thank you,
tell us
Mahyar.
the last parting words for all of our wonderful admirers.
Thank you. I actually believe in everything that each and every one of you said. I think they've been, everybody is so eloquent and you put it so well. My first advice is believe in yourself, believe in your abilities. Everybody has to find out something that speaks to them, something they love to do, absolutely love to do. And once they find that, go for it. Just don't take no for an answer. And my what I always tell my kids is sometimes you go, well, if I ask them, they'll say no. Well, go ahead and ask it anyway. Don't say no to yourself. Do not prevent yourself from the opportunities that are out there just because of an assumption that somebody is going to say no. Don't do that. Believe in yourself. As Hema said, engage in the conversation. I don't care if people think I shouldn't be engaging because I am there. I'm going to engage, you know?
Right.
And I have always been very outspoken. As a little child, I would get into trouble for
I can
that.
so
But
see that.
I was also encouraged by my parents because they believed in being articulate. But one last thing, I have seen a lot of people succeed who are not very smart, but they're hardworking, they're open to learning, and they push forward. And I've seen a lot of super smart people that didn't have what it takes to really stick to stuff, you know, follow their dreams and or believe others when they say you can't do it. So I started my practice. It'll be 14 years this October. And when I started it, I had been a partner in a law firm. I came out, I had one case that I brought with me. And I'm like, I'm going to do this. I talked to someone who told me, oh, wow, that sounds really good. You want to have your own practice. But what's option B? And I said, what do you mean, what's option? And she goes,
for you,
what
Mahyar.
if you didn't succeed? And I said, what do you mean don't succeed? You take the option out. I read
Yes.
something somewhere that said, if you want to take the island, burn the ship.
Mhm.
If you really want to do
Big.
something, burn the other options, no
Yeah.
other option, strictly focused on the goal, believe in yourself and go forward.
That's
I
such a
love
great
it.
way to do this, you guys. That's amazing. Let's give each of you a hand and then we'll end it right now. Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank
My
you,
heart goes
Viki.
out to all of you. Amazing individuals. Very, very fun and charming international women people that are doing amazing work. So can't
I
wait to
would
see.
have to add, thank you, Kathy, for putting us together, putting us on this Zoom team. You're an amazing business person. I've seen you grow in the last, how many years? 12 years we've known each other.
Yeah,
Grow incredibly and be, you know, a leader and move as a leader forward. So thank you for putting us all together. It was an amazing opportunity to
Thank you,
Well,
Kathy.
thank
you.
you guys. We'll do it every year
Thank
now.
you.
We'll come up with new info.
Sounds
Take care.
good.
Take care.
Sounds
Happy International
good.
Women's
Wonderful.
Day. Bye-bye.
Have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.